To start by drawing some simple structures for the molecule hexane. If you look at your list of prefixes, hex is 6. An alkane means that there are only carbon-carbon single bonds, and all of the carbons get their 4 bonds by finishing off with hydrogens. So the molecular formula for an alkane is CnH2n plus 2. So for hexane, we're going to have C6H14. We would write our condensed formula. Because there are 6 carbons, we're going to have CH3 to start, and then we'll have CH2, 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 and then on the end we'll have our other CH3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The structural formula is where we show all of the atoms and all of the bonds. So I'm going to start by drawing the carbon backbone, which will consist of 6 carbon atoms connected by single bonds. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's an alkane, so that's all single bonds, and now we fill in around each carbon with enough hydrogen so that each carbon has 4 bonds. So this is our structural formula. We represent each atom and each bond. You'll notice that there are 6 carbons and 14 hydrogens. Now, when we do a bond line structure, we represent the carbons using single lines. We assume that the hydrogens are there, and we represent this in a format that will be similar to the geometric arrangement of each of these carbon atoms. Now, each of these carbon atoms has 4 bonds around it, which means each carbon is tetrahedral. So we'll begin by drawing our first 2 carbons, because a single line actually represents 2 carbons. So I'll start with a line like this. This represents a carbon, this represents a carbon. We assume that there are enough hydrogens around it to make it have 4 bonds. Now, when I add another line like this, we have our first carbon, we have our second carbon at the vertex, and now we have our third carbon. Now we've added our 4th carbon, our 5th carbon, and finally our 6th carbon. So the bond line structure for hexane is simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. The carbons on the end have 3 hydrogens around them so that they have 4 bonds. These carbons in the middle are CH2s, they have 2 hydrogens on them, and they're bonded to 2 carbons. So these are the various ways that we can represent hexane.